I'm going to teach you how I would use the PDFs and other files and how easy it is to drag and drop them and use them with the students. So fresh new board, I'm going to drag this file. This is a PDF file, OCRA 2018 mod. So it's a file I know is a past paper from the exam board OCRA. I'm just going to drop it. And we get this window opening up at the side asking me to pick the pages of that PDF that I want to submit to this board. Now, some of these are blank pages, so I might deselect some of these. I'm not going to now, but if it was a PDF with a load of blank pages at the end, which sometimes you get, you just deselect them and move on from there. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put them all on. So I'm going to click next. Do I want to add it to the current board, or do I want to add it to a new board, or do I want to add one page per board? I'm going to add them all to the current board because this is a paper that I want to go through with my student as in one session. So there we go. So if I scroll down now, here are all the pages of this past paper, starting with a multiple choice. And if we just scroll through all the way to the bottom, there are all the questions that I might want to go through with my student. You can write on them, I can write on them, we can write to the side of it, we can write anywhere we want on this thing. I might deliberately use a different color here and something that's not too offensive. This is the teacher coming out of me. So I've got a number of hex codes here for colors that I just like, because I'm a bit of a color fiend. So here you go. If that wasn't A, I'd talk to you about why it wasn't A, and I'd say, oh, well, actually it's B. And I'd write it in a different color deliberately so that if you were to come back and revise from this, you can see, oh yeah, I remember I got this one wrong because it's written in green. Actually, the answer is B, and we might write down why it's B. Another thing we can do here is I can take you off leader mode. This is a good place where I probably would take them off leader mode because they, depending on their screen size, they might want to zoom in a bit more. On my screen, this looks fine, but on their screen, depending on what they're having, it might be too big, it might be too small. So for a continuous PDF like this, I'd probably take them off leader mode. I can scroll down here and get a heads up of what questions are coming up if I need to, because there might be a question that I've done before and I think, oh yeah, I remember this one. I'm not entirely sure how I need to explain that one. And then I'd go back up and there I can see your cursor. There you go. So I know you're still on question 3. Another thing that I quite like to do is use a board. So here we go. Here's all the boards that we've been working on today. I might create a new board. On that board, I would just put another PDF, which is the data sheet, all the equations that the student needs to answer questions on this, because as we're going through an exam, they need to be able to use equations and effectively use equations, obviously, to answer questions. So here I'm putting on another PDF. I've just dragged and dropped it. I'm adding it to the current board, which is a different board to the one that the exam question is on. So here you've found it. This is where they will find all the constants, all the equations that they need broken down for this particular exam board. So now that you're not on leader view, you can go back and forth between that exam paper and this board, look for whatever it is equation you need, and you're not dependent on me having to do that for you. Completely independent, but I'm facilitating that for you by creating a different board and just letting you get on with it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put down all of your thoughts. We're going to choose a sticky note. We're going to add it to the board and we're going to put down all of your thoughts on what you think the answer is and maybe why you think the answer is that. There you go. So Michael's got one. He's changed the color. I've got one here. It's got our names on it, which is great. I'm going to change mine to a green one. Why not? Just because we can. If you've got 4 or 5 different students on a group session going through some questions, this is a great way for them to independently say what they think the answer is and again, possibly why. And it might be that they all know the answer and it's an easy question, but I probably wouldn't have chosen one like that to do this with. And so there may be that most people have put A, but a couple of people have put B, maybe one person's put D. And I wouldn't say, right, this is the answer. A really simple, easy, and effective way for students to assess their own confidence, given a completely different answer. They don't know whether it's right and wrong. Test your own confidence as to whether you think your answer is correct or is another person's answer correct. Explain why. If you can explain something simply, you have to understand it well. You can't do it otherwise. It's one of Bloom's taxonomy, right at the top of different methods of learning. The best method for an individual to learn is to teach it. Forces you to learn it very well.